Hi everyone and welcome back. In today's video I wanted to have a talk about something that I probably get asked the most. It's definitely one of the top three. One of the top three things that I do get asked is how to feed cacti, what to feed them, when to feed them, so on and so forth. So look, it's not something that I do very often, and to be perfectly honest, you don't really need to. I think I've said that a couple of times. I said it in the cactus chat, both episodes that I've done so far, is that it's not necessary. It's not going to be the end of the world if you don't feed your cacti, and there's no secret formula or secret miracle that's going to make them grow fantastically or anything like that. There are other factors which are much more important than fertilization, and I think for traditional gardeners, sort of what I call a traditional gardener, sort of plants in the ground, shrubs and annuals and things like that, is that it's a learned behaviour that plants need to be fed, and they need to be fed on a regular basis and so on and so forth. But cacti are a little bit different. Actually, they're a lot different. Without sort of going into that side of things too much, I'll just explain what I use for cacti fertilization and why, and you can choose to follow it or maybe try your own methods. So the one product that I use a lot is this. It's Thrive Flower and Fruit. The reason that I use the flower and fruit as opposed to the regular one is that this one here has less nitrogen. So nitrogen is not something that I want to use a lot of. I am trialing nitrogen supplementation, but I'll probably put that in another video because it's going to get a little bit technical. Anywho, you'll see the breakdown on pretty much any fertilizer will have a breakdown on it like that. So the three main components that are required for plant growth are referred to as NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So if we look at the NPK analysis on this one, we will have total nitrogen is 14, total phosphorus is 2.6, and the total potassium is 21. It's pretty much a unanimous view that cacti in general like potassium. If you sort of do any research or look into papers or experienced growers, they'll often refer to potassium as being a desirable component of any fertilizer for cacti. So this one here's got a lot of it, so this is what I use. It's a soluble fertilizer. It comes in a yellowish kind of powder like that, and the amount that I use, there's a little scoop-a-majiggy in there. Sorry, wrong way. Little scoop in there. So I'll use maybe one scoop, maybe a little bit over one scoop in 9 litres of water, which I think is, I don't know how many gallons, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with the conversion. So I know a lot of my viewers are from the US, so I'll put up the gallons here. So it's literally half the strength that's recommended. Now I feed my cacti on the second water of the growing season. So at the moment it's winter, nothing's getting watered apart from a couple of things, and when spring comes and everything's ready to be watered, what I'll do is give them a very small water just to sort of rehydrate and plump up, and then on the second water they'll actually get their food. The other thing that I use, however, this is not entirely necessary, and we would really only use this very sparingly, is trace elements here. So trace elements are pretty much like the sort of backup sort of nutrients that that plants need. But this one here, I think the lowest recommended dosage here is 3 level spoons, so 15 grams in each litre of water. I wouldn't use anywhere near that. I'd probably use about 1/3 of that. So, maybe 3/4 of 1 scoop or something like that. And that would be, in each litre of water. So I'd probably, across 9 litres, because I use a big watering can, I'd maybe use 2 scoops, 3 scoops max. Not a lot, I don't want the fertilizers and the salts building up in the pot, and I don't want my plants overfed anyways. So that's the other thing there. There is one more thing that I use. Why is this? There we go. Sorry, the box kept falling over. The other thing that I do use, and I use it for the first time, I think about a year or two ago now, was blood and bone, which is not really necessarily considered a soluble fertilizer. It's more of like a powdery sort of stuff. It's I think it's like ground up animal bits and other things, and I just put a little bit into the watering can, just more so as a bit of an organic matter boost, rather. And was there any remarkable difference? No, because as I said at the start of the video, there is no secret formula or secret mixture that's going to take, you know, a plant from looking how it does to being, you know, amazing. It doesn't exist. There's plenty of people, I'm sure, that think they've got the secret miracle and whatnot, but there's two things that are much more important than fertilization. That is water, not too much, not too little, and light levels. Those two, if you get those two right, regardless of what fertilizer regime you're using, you will have a beautiful cactus. End of story, end of argument. Sorry if that sounds a little bit rude, but it's the truth. So look, that's just what I use for fertilizer. The trace elements, I only use that probably maybe every couple of years. You just don't need a lot. I mean, even the biggest pot that I use, apart from the outdoor plants, is that big. It's not a lot of volume, so they don't need a lot. And I'll only fertilize once in the season. Last season I fertilized twice and was not a fan of it. What actually happened was, if I can find the plant that did it, no, he or she's tucked in there somewhere. I'll grab this one as an example. So cacti should flower from the top in here. What happens when you over fertilize? I mean, the plant does develop lush growth, which is basically very hydrated growth, which is dangerous, because if you get a cold snap or something like that, very high chance that the cactus's cells will burst, and it'll either die or get very sick. Anywho, so the flowers should come from this bit up here in the top middle. One of the side effects of over fertilization, which I don't recommend, is it, see down the ribs of the plant there? I actually had flowers coming out of the side of that, and that for me was a clear indication that I'd given way too much fertilizer. Maybe some people would find that appealing, but for me it was grotesque and unnatural. I did not like it at all, to the point where I pulled the flowers out. I just did not like the look of it. You know, I mean, my plants sort of do fall somewhere between natural and, you know, artificial. I like them sort of in the middle, not fully bloated like you're going to find at a commercial nursery, but I don't like them, you know, fully natural either. I don't think that's visually appealing, so mine falls somewhere in the middle. But that is something that can happen with over fertilization, is that you'll get unnatural growth characteristics, a lush growth, you know, flowers coming down from the ribs, which I don't personally think looks very nice at all. So that's pretty much all I do. As most of my regular viewers will know, the mix that I use for pretty much all of my cacti is almost entirely rocks. That's not a top dressing. I don't use a top dressing. I like to have a good variety of stones in there, and the reason for that is that I'm not going to go into in full detail, but cacti do have a symbiotic relationship with certain types of bacteria which are capable of breaking down rock and extracting nutrients. But look, again, that's probably a little bit too complicated for this video. This video is probably getting a little bit long already. So look, short answer is that fertilization not required. Second of all, if you're going to do it lightly and just do it once a year. Any more than that, I wouldn't recommend. But anyways, hope you found the video interesting. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. You can chat with me on Facebook, and I'll put the name up there. And of course, another thank you to my patrons over on Patreon, and just a very quick reminder that you can support my channel for as little as $1 per month. It means a lot to me, and every single cent that my channel produces, I put straight back into buying, seeds, plants, so that I can keep making content for you guys and girls. Anyways, everyone, thanks for watching, and as always, happy gardening. Bye.